On October 27th, a mysterious investor has attached your name to a massive financial blessing. Archangel Michael says open this before midnight or the inheritance will be redirected to someone who was never meant to receive it. The heavens have marked October 27th with the ink of divine timing. This is not a date on a calendar. It is a spiritual intersection, a sacred appointment hidden beneath layers of earthly routine. Those who have been watching and waiting, sensing a mysterious stirring in their spirit, know that something unusual has been written in the supernatural realm. Something massive. Something personal. On this day, a mysterious investor, not of flesh and blood but of spirit and glory, has inscribed your name into a financial trust not made by man. This investor is cloaked in divine secrecy, moving with the authority of the Most High. It is not just money, and it is not just love. This is a spiritual transaction, prepared by the labor of generations, fueled by prayers you never heard, and unlocked by obedience you didn't know was being counted. The time is not random. Midnight on October 27th is the divine cutoff. Archangel Michael has been dispatched with urgency, carrying scrolls of inheritance that are now hanging in balance. On one of them your name is attached. Not by accident, not by error, but by heavenly design. This inheritance is not ordinary wealth. It is the accumulated reward of your spiritual perseverance. Heaven has watched your moments of faith when nothing made sense, the nights when you sowed without harvest, the hours of obedience when no one clapped, the unseen intercession, the private weeping, the times you resisted bitterness even when wronged. All of it was being written. All of it was being invested into a trust that has now matured. But the warning is sharp. The call is urgent. Open this before midnight, Archangel Michael says, or the blessing will be redirected. Not because God wants to withhold it, but because the timing of heaven demands alignment. Delay can cause a spiritual misfire. What was yours could fall into hands that were never meant to carry it. Hands not pure, hearts not ready, spirits not assigned. And this message, make no mistake, is not for everyone. Only those whose spirit has been restless will recognize this as confirmation. Only those who have sensed strange warfare around their finances, those who felt like they're standing at a threshold, those who have felt their spirit trembling at odd hours. This is your moment. This is your heavenly intersection. Heaven is testing three things: obedience, faith, and readiness. Not for punishment, but for positioning. Before the release can be authorized, a moment of holy stillness is required. Not a performance. A pause. Will you respond? Will you obey the silent call before midnight? Because heaven watches, and your response determines the direction. Type "I receive this" in the comments if this message finds your spirit. Blessing code 1010 is now in motion. In the next few hours, the gates of wealth will decide who they recognize. The air around you is not ordinary today. Yours movement in the unseen. The kind of movement that bends time, shifts alignment, and causes angels to descend with sealed scrolls in their hands. The Spirit of the Lord is not whispering now. He is roaring with quiet urgency. The hour is prophetic. The moment is irreversible. The investor of heaven, mysterious and hidden, has stirred. He is searching. He is moving swiftly through realms you cannot see, realms where names are recorded, assignments are transferred, and blessings are weighed for delivery. And on one scroll, divinely inscribed and sealed in holy gold, is your name. Your name. Not because you earned it, not because you fought harder, but because your spirit still believes. Heaven responds not to performance, but to alignment, and your faith has remained, bruised but unbroken. You still expect God when others have settled. You still believe for more, even when the natural has said no. That belief, that trembling flicker in your spirit, that's what qualified you. Archangel Michael now stands as a witness. He holds the scroll. His sword is drawn, not in wrath, but in divine readiness. He guards the blessing, ensuring that no counterfeit hand reaches what was meant to be yours. And yet he will not wait forever. The Spirit whispers, not to all, but to you. By midnight, an exchange will be sealed. A transfer will be finalized. And only those who are awake in faith, those who have ears to hear and hearts to move, will receive what was withheld for such a time as this. This is not manipulation. This is not fear. This is activation. The pressure you feel in your chest, the tingling at the back of your neck, the rise of emotion as these words find you. It is your spirit recognizing a moment written before time began. And if you are still listening, still reading, then you are not here by chance. You are standing in front of a vault with your name on it, a password, obedience, a key, timely response. Delay opens the door to redirection, and redirection can place what's yours into the hands of someone who was never meant to carry it. You feel the call, that inner trembling that says this is for me. That's not emotion. That's not coincidence. That is a divine pull. You are being awakened to a higher frequency where your obedience unlocks overdue provision. And hear this with clarity. A warning and an invitation now exist in the same breath. Do and word forward. To respond, or to be routed. There is no neutral ground. You are not in delay anymore, you are in decision. As the world around you sleeps in the comfort of routine, heaven's economic system is recalibrating. Spiritual bank accounts are being audited. Names are being searched. Destinies are being confirmed. And while the earth ticks forward minute by minute, the spirit realm is waiting for a signal from you. Just one act of faith. Just one whisper of agreement. Do not let the scroll pass you by. Do not let silence become forfeiture. There are moments where destiny knocks once, and to miss it is to wait another season. Type I am chosen in the comments if your name is written on the scroll. Blessing code 777 is now preparing your divine inheritance. You've noticed it. You just couldn't explain it. The delays that didn't make sense. The moments when everything seemed aligned, yet it all slipped through your fingers like smoke. Opportunities that promised breakthrough, then turned cold overnight. Conversations that once carried favor, now laced with confusion. People who once celebrated you now stand distant, passive, or strangely silent. You've been walking through what felt like a fog, not of your own making, but one orchestrated in the spirit to frustrate your timing. This is not your imagination. This is not bad luck. This was a targeted interference. And the Spirit of the Lord is now revealing what has been moving behind the veil. Your inheritance, your name, was marked. But it wasn't just marked for release, it was also marked for attack. Somewhere in the spirit realm, forces that study cycles and seasons saw your acceleration coming. They knew your name was being attached to something massive. And so, they sent disruption disguised as disappointment. Yes, you've been monitored. Not by people, but by spirits that thrive on delay. They've been watching the transactions of heaven concerning you. And when the mysterious investor, this heavenly distributor of wealth, began to authorize your portion, they attempted to rewrite the record. They tried to intercept your name. They tried to label it as unqualified, unprepared, not ready. But what they didn't realize is that heaven never invested in your perfection. It invested in your persistence. Some of the people who stood closest to you were unknowingly used in this plot, not always out of malice, but out of ignorance. They saw the light on you. They sensed the favor about to fall, and instead of covering you, they questioned you. Instead of interceding, they whispered, and in the unseen, their words gave permission for confusion to form. But heaven heard it all, and heaven has now begun to review the files. The Spirit says, they tried to confuse the record, but I am restoring the truth. Every act of sabotage, every false alignment, every delay that came through mislabeling, it's being reversed. The mysterious investor is not moved by opinions. He is governed by divine assignment. And your name is still on the scroll. Your portion is still attached. Your inheritance is still legally yours. That restlessness you've been feeling, that sense that something is shifting, even if you don't know how or why, it is not anxiety. It is not fatigue. It is your spirit discerning that the enemy's access is being revoked. It is your internal witness rising up, confirming what your mind can barely grasp. The wealth is on its way, but the warfare came first. That storm in your emotions, it wasn't chaos. It was the enemy's last attempt to confuse your signature on a spiritual contract. And now, as the files are being opened, the records corrected, and your name reinstated, you are standing in a holy moment. A moment of justice. A moment of prophetic exposure. A moment of heaven saying, no more running. What was delayed is about to be released. What was stolen is returning, with interest. Type I am anointed in the comments if you can feel this release in your spirit. Blessing code 1122 is now activated over your life. If this prophetic word is igniting something in your spirit, I want to invite you to take a step that helps us carry this fire even further. Every time you give, you help awaken another soul who's been waiting for their midnight message. This is more than support. It's sowing into supernatural inheritance. Just as rivers of oil were poured on chosen heads, your giving becomes a release of divine provision. God said in 2 Corinthians 9:10, now he who supplies seed to the sower, and bread for food will also supply and increase your store of seed, and this is your moment to let that seed speak. I feel led to ask you directly, if this word confirms something for you, help us keep sounding the trumpet. By activating a super thanks, joining as a YouTube member, or sowing via the PayPal link in the description, you become part of this prophetic movement. Your support is not charity. It is prophecy in action. Your seed is not lost. It's tracked by heaven and returned in overflow. Now give boldly. Sow with urgency. Heaven is watching. This was never just about money. This was never about currency or coins. This conflict, this confusion, this delay, it was always spiritual. The inheritance being spoken of is not mere provision, it is power. Power to build. Power to restore. Power to fund what hell has tried to starve. And that kind of power attracts resistance. The battle over your blessing has been fierce, not because you are weak, but because you are trusted. The enemy never attacks what poses no threat. You were targeted because your light exposes deception. You were watched because your faith carries weight. You were challenged because your heart remains soft, even in scarcity. And that purity made you a threat to the counterfeit structures that surround you. Religious spirits, manipulative systems, demonic delays. They saw you rising before you did. They saw the scroll with your name being lifted in the heavens, and they dispatched guardians of the gate to block the release. But listen closely. Archangel Michael now stands in warfare posture, not against man, not against flesh, but against ancient forces that have long guarded the doors of destiny. He has drawn his sword, not just for you, but because of you. You stirred the heavens. You provoked divine movement. Your posture in pain became a spiritual password. While others cursed the delay, you praised. While others complained, you fasted. And now, your name has become a weapon in the mouth of the Lord. The chaos you felt emotionally, the mood swings, the mental exhaustion, the strange tension in your home, all of it is spiritual turbulence. Not evidence of failure, but confirmation of value. You are valuable. You are needed. You are marked. Heaven does not invest in those who bow under pressure. Heaven invests in those who stay standing, even if they are trembling. And you, beloved, have stayed standing. God has not forgotten you. No, heaven has been watching you closely. Your obedience in the silent seasons has now become your divine clearance. The testing wasn't punishment, it was proof of readiness. What you're about to receive is not just wealth, it is responsibility. Kingdom resources are never released to the careless. And so heaven allowed the warfare to filter you, to see if bitterness would replace belief. But you passed. You held your posture. You kept your oil. You stayed silent when slandered. You prayed when forgotten. The transfer is holy. The inheritance is sacred. And so is your role in carrying it. Heaven now asks a final question before the final vault opens. Can you stay still while the transfer occurs? Can you trust that the delay was protection? Can you believe that the silence was working in your favor? Because this blessing requires no striving, no panic, just alignment. The door does not open by force, it opens by faith. Let this truth settle in your bones. Your name is not only written, it is trusted. And when heaven trusts a name, it fights for that name. It surrounds it. It seals it. And no gate of hell can override what God has already approved. Type "I am ready for release" in the comments if you receive this word. Blessing code 1717 now shields your name in the spirit realm. By midnight on October 27th, the scroll will be sealed. The mysterious investor, this divine allocator of heavenly wealth, has waited long enough. The vault is prepared. The inheritance is tallied. The legalities in the spirit have been reviewed, and the transaction awaits only one final thing: your alignment. But here lies the urgency that should shake your spirit awake. There is a rival spirit attempting to rewrite your name. This is not a metaphor. This is a real spiritual occurrence. Somewhere in the realms beyond sight, the enemy has submitted a counterfeit claim. A spirit of greed and deception has tried to reroute your portion to someone who was never assigned to carry what was made for you. And unless your faith rises in this moment, unless you stand in your identity, awake, alert, and obedient, the scroll could be reassigned. Archangel Michael sends this warning, not to scare, but to summon, to awaken, to jolt your soul into position. If they do not awaken, he says, the inheritance will reroute. And if it reroutes, it doesn't go to someone who earned it. It goes to someone who was merely awake when you were distracted. Heaven does not operate on entitlement. It moves by faith, and it moves through timing. Delay is not neutral. Delay is dangerous when the clock of heaven is ticking. The next 72 hours are not normal. They are volatile. They are spiritual. You may see it in your dreams. You may feel it in the sudden shifts of emotion. Unexpected messages, odd encounters, strange financial signs. These are not coincidences. They are prophetic signals that something is happening in the spirit. Your inheritance is circling. It is looking for the authorized vessel. This is why the pressure has intensified. This is why your sleep has been broken, your thoughts stirred. Not because you're under attack, but because the spiritual document is pressing for your signature. And your signature isn't a pen. It's your posture, your yes, your willingness to say, God, I align, I respond, I receive. That is your spiritual authorization. That is how the scroll is sealed with your name intact. There is no room for hesitation now. Heaven waits, but not forever. The blessing has waited long enough. The angelic host is ready for dispatch, but they cannot move until your spirit agrees. You must come out of passive hope and into active alignment. Declare what is yours. Guard your atmosphere. Watch your words. Protect your decisions. Because heaven is recording every signal you send in this hour. You are not powerless in this moment. You are positioned. But positioned people must act. You waited long enough. You've asked long enough. Now the Spirit says, give me your yes, and I will give you the release. But if silence remains, someone else will step into what was prepared for you. Do not let spiritual laziness rewrite what heaven has ordained. Do not allow hesitation to be the pen that signs over your promise. The record is open, but it is closing soon. The investor will not wait until morning. Midnight is not a time. It is a spiritual cutoff. A moment when heaven says, enough delay. So stand up. Wake up. Speak up. And let the heavens hear your agreement. Type I align before midnight in the comments to confirm your portion. Blessing code 1919 is now activated over your records in the heavenlies. Be still. Ask the command of heaven now. Not because nothing is happening, but because everything is. While the world around you hustles in noise and movement, heaven responds to silence and alignment. The inheritance that bears your name is weighty. It's sacred. It does not respond to panic. It does not respond to exposure. It responds to posture, a posture of holy stillness. This is not the hour to explain your vision. This is not the season to convince anyone of what God showed you. Do not broadcast your plans. Do not argue for validation. The vaults of heaven open in secrecy, not performance. Your portion has already been approved. It is not up for public debate. The mysterious investor has placed your name on a scroll that only obedience can access. No one needs to understand it. They only need to witness it. The enemy would love for you to speak too soon. He knows that premature exposure can lead to spiritual interception. But heaven's instruction in this hour is precise. Silence is your shield. Stillness is your signature. What does this mean? It means that in this sacred window, these final hours before midnight on October 27th, your greatest act of warfare is not to fight, but to be found in rest. A rest that doesn't mean inactivity, but spiritual trust. When you choose quietness over panic, when you respond with prayer instead of argument, when you declare God's timing over your emotions, heaven takes that as a divine yes. That's the signature. That's the seal. That's the signal that says, this one is ready. The investor is not looking for your busyness. He's watching for your stillness. Avoid oversharing. Avoid over-explaining. Avoid unnecessary exposure. What God is birthing in you was never meant for the public delivery room. Some moves are too prophetic for casual conversation. Keep this one close. Let the oil of obedience flow behind closed doors. Heaven moves in secret, then reveals in power. Don't reverse the order. If you feel the need to prove yourself, pause. That is not the Spirit. That is the pressure of distraction. If you feel tempted to post it, defend it, explain it, announce it, don't. Let heaven speak on your behalf. What is sealed in the Spirit does not need the approval of man. The mysterious investor is not asking for popularity, only posture. The angels assigned to your life are not moved by what others see. They are activated by what you choose not to say. When you hold your peace, they hold the gates open. When you rest in confidence, they war on your behalf. Your obedience tells heaven, transfer authorized. Even now, assignments are shifting. Even now, conversations are happening in rooms you have not entered. While you pray in whispers, heaven is moving in thunder. What was misdirected is being redirected. What was stolen is being returned. But the final transfer requires stillness. The final step before the scroll is sealed requires that you do nothing but trust. Rest. Do not fear. Do not strive. Just align. Heaven is working harder than you ever could. And what's yours, what bears your spiritual fingerprint, cannot be stolen once heaven confirms it. Type "I will be still" and "no" in the comments to confirm your posture. Blessing code 2020 is now shielding your atmosphere in divine secrecy. You are no longer the struggler. The title has expired. That season is over. You are no longer the one just hoping for a break, waiting for someone to see your value, surviving off delayed promises and recycled encouragement. Heaven has reclassified you. You are no longer a survivor, you are an heir. You are the one for whom the scroll was written. You are the one who endured the fire, not to be burned, but to be refined for royal access. You didn't just go through storms. You outlived them. You didn't just survive betrayal. You passed the test of not becoming bitter. You kept your hands clean when others threw dirt. You didn't chase after platforms. You didn't sell your soul for temporary gain. Instead, you stayed faithful in obscurity. You were consistent in silence. And now, that silence is being rewarded with authority. Heaven is not promoting noise. It is promoting character. And your character has been proven. Your storms sharpened your discernment. You can now smell the counterfeit from a distance. You are no longer oppressed by empty words. You are no longer tempted by shiny distractions. That's why the wealth is coming. Because now, it won't break you. It will build others through you. This shift into empowerment is not random. It's not hype. It is the result of heaven's audit, and you passed. You are now being called what you always were in the Spirit: a kingdom investor, a divine trustee, a spiritual treasurer. These are not religious titles. These are assignments. You are being trusted with influence, not for applause, but for impact. You are not just being blessed. You are being positioned to become the blessing. No longer will you chase open doors. And now, doors will respond to your presence. No longer will you hustle for favor. Now, favor will locate you based on divine instruction. You are not moving from need. You are moving from inheritance. You are not trying to prove anything. You are walking in what has already been approved. Your obedience has changed the algorithm of your atmosphere. What once rejected you will now request you. What once overlooked you will now overcompensate to include you. Not because you sought validation, but because your spirit finally matched the weight of your calling. That trembling you felt in your chest. That stirring in your sleep. That restlessness is not anxiety. It is heaven announcing your arrival into a new economy of grace. Fire now surrounds your name in the Spirit. That is not poetic. That is prophetic. Your name glows in the records of heaven. It is marked, sealed, guarded, approved. The old version of you cannot walk into what's coming. And that is why God allowed some people to fall off. That is why the wilderness felt so long. He was not punishing you. He was protecting the scroll. He was allowing the shedding of false associations so that you could walk into divine accountability. Now, you are no longer just a vessel. You are a distributor. You no longer carry lack. You carry legacy. You are a channel for kingdom resources. And the flow will not be temporary. The flow will not be unstable. It will come in waves. It will come in due time. And the time is now. Type "I receive my divine promotion" in the comments if your spirit is rising with this word. Blessing code 3030 has now released the oil of legacy over your name. The delay was not a denial. It was divine. It was deliberate. It was mercy disguised as waiting. There are some things that God could have released earlier, but if He had, it would have landed on your old self, your unhealed self, your unprotected self. So He waited. Not because you weren't chosen, but because you were too valuable to be prematurely exposed. And now, in this hour, heaven says the delay has done its work. The waiting has matured your authority. The mysterious investor was never random. It was never a metaphor. It was always God moving in disguise. The very moments that seemed like loss were deposits. The connections you thought failed were actually redirected to shield your portion. The closed doors were not missed opportunities. They were divine detours to keep your inheritance untainted. Every no was heaven's not yet. Every silence was God's voice saying, "I am preparing something weightier than what you're asking for." And now, on the edge of October 27th, the vault is no longer locked. The blessing has matured. The investment has accrued spiritual interest. What was held back was not buried. It was gathering power. It was waiting for your alignment, waiting for your voice, waiting for your agreement. And now, the Spirit declares with clarity and force, your name carries authority in both realms, the natural and the supernatural. This is not just about receiving a financial blessing. This is about stepping into a new spiritual identity. Your name has been updated in the heavens. Where the enemy once accused you, now there is only approval. Where your name was once associated with struggle, now it is recorded in the scrolls as trusted. You have been hidden for a reason, and now you will be revealed with purpose. Heaven's books are being updated. Not just your present, but your lineage, your legacy. This isn't just about you. This is about bloodlines, about what was withheld from those before you, now being released through you. Your yes is unblocking inheritance that belongs to your entire generational line. You are the one chosen to carry what others could not. You are the breaker, the repairer, the builder, the one who turns mourning into multiplication. And now, heaven is finalizing what was started long before you were born. A midnight call is not a warning of loss. It is a declaration of completion. It is heaven's way of saying, this chapter is done. The wait is over. But only those who open the scroll, who respond in time, who agree in spirit, will walk into what others will only hear about. You are remembered. You are recorded. You are restored. The weight you've carried was never in vain. The fire you endured was never for show. It was for the purification of the vessel that would carry the promise. And now, you carry it. Fully. Finally. Freely. Type "I am restored" and ready in the comments if you know this message was written for you. Blessing code 4141 has now sealed your name in the book of financial favor. Just as your name has been found faithful in the heavens, I invite you to become a vessel through which the Word of God reaches more souls. When you give, through a super thanks, a YouTube membership, or a seed via PayPal in the description, you are not supporting a channel. You are financing divine encounters. You are fueling prophetic awakenings. The oil that flows from this word does not stay in one place. It travels through your giving. Just as Elijah's oil did not run dry for the widow who dared to pour, your support causes supernatural overflow in places you will never physically go. Heaven multiplies what you release in faith. The seed leaves your hand, but it enters eternity. I feel this is your moment. Your gift becomes part of the scroll. It carries weight. It carries fragrance. It is recorded. So like someone whose name is written. Give like one who has been sealed. Move like one chosen to carry the mantle of provision. Heaven is watching, and the reward is not delayed. Now is the time to speak. Now is the time to rise. What was once theory must now become declaration. What was once hidden must now be activated by your voice. You can no longer wait for signs. You are the sign. You are the evidence that heaven's promises still break through earth's resistance. And so, with every fiber of your being, you must open your mouth and say, I authorize heaven's inheritance in my name. This is not a symbolic gesture. It is a spiritual decree. It is a divine unlocking. In the same way a key turns a vault, your words carry the code to finalize what heaven has prepared. Silence was your shield during war, but now declaration is your sword in the release. You must command the blessing to locate you. You must tell the scroll to stay sealed with your name. Speak it until the realm responds. No redirection. No replacement. No rerouting. My blessing locates me now. This is destiny activation. This is not about waiting for angels to appear. This is about walking in the authority already placed on your life. You are not waiting for permission. You have already been approved. You are not seeking favor. Favor has already sought you. You must now move in expectation. You must now prepare for manifestation. Set your house in order. Clear your space. Make room. Prepare your accounts. Ready your atmosphere. Do not treat this like a feeling. Treat this like a scheduled delivery. You are not hoping anymore, you are preparing. Heaven doesn't deliver where there is no readiness. You cannot expect abundance while living in a posture of lack. Faith is not passive. Faith is preparation. The wealth that is being released is both spiritual and material. This inheritance is not just provision. It is purpose. It will fund vision. It will fuel calling. It will support mandates. You are not receiving for comfort, you are receiving for kingdom. This blessing comes with blueprints. It comes with divine responsibility. And it will only flow where there is obedience. Your obedience is the womb of your overflow. The mysterious investor was not just allocating finances. He was assigning authority. And that authority now demands your participation. You can no longer act as if you are unqualified. You can no longer shrink. You must stand. You must declare. You must govern what heaven is sending. Because what is coming has your name on it, but only alignment can secure it. Don't underestimate your voice in this moment. Your words are the final transaction. Your agreement is the signal that the delivery has a destination. The scroll has been prepared, but it must be activated by your yes. You must speak over your life. You must speak over your home. You must command angels to release what is being held. You must declare that nothing and no one will stand in the way. This is your moment of divine alignment. and heaven is watching for those who not only believe but those who activate. This is the hour when heaven moves not for the loud, but for the aligned. Stand ready. Speak boldly. Move quickly. Type "I authorize my destiny" in the comments if your words are unlocking your portion now. Blessing code 5151 has now confirmed your voice in the vaults of heaven. Something is shifting, but not where your eyes can see it. It is taking place in silence, beyond sound, beyond reason, beyond the dimension of time. You will not hear the roar of this transaction, because it is happening in a realm that responds to posture, not noise. As you rest tonight, as your body winds down, as the world around you drifts into its regular rhythm, the heavens will not sleep. This is not a time of inactivity. This is a time of holy negotiation. The spirit realm is moving with precision. Angels are standing over scrolls and signatures, seals and inheritances. The vault has opened, not with fanfare, but with silence. It opens not with keys made of metal, but with obedience shaped like faith. You have felt the heaviness in your chest, the tension in your soul, the unexplainable alertness in your spirit. Not because you are off course, but because you are being watched in the spirit. Watched not for the adjutant, but for agreement. In this holy silence, the exchange is occurring. Old records are being removed. False claims are being revoked. Unholy attachments are being severed. The name that was tampered with is now being cleared. The record that was manipulated is being corrected. What was stolen is not only being returned, it is being returned with interest. And not just interest in time, but interest in territory. Interest in favor. Interest in authority. The silent exchange is not emotional, it is judicial. It is legal in the courts of heaven. Where the adversary once stood to accuse, now the advocate speaks on your behalf. Archangel Michael is no longer waiting at the threshold. He is executing divine justice, overseeing this supernatural transfer with militant force. No interception is permitted. No eroding allowed. This is a finalization in the spirit. The scroll that bears your name is being sealed in this very hour. While you sleep, heaven speaks. While you breathe in stillness, God is breathing on contracts. As your natural body enters rest, your spiritual records are being signed and stamped. This is why you felt unusual resistance today. This is why your thoughts were scattered. This is why your atmosphere shifted without explanation. Because the realm of the spirit recognizes what your conscious mind is only beginning to understand. You are in the middle of a holy transfer. Do not be surprised if dreams return tonight. Dreams with symbols, numbers, faces, and voices. Do not dismiss them. The language of the Spirit is awakening. You are being shown what is happening behind the veil. Pay attention. These are not ordinary dreams. They are prophetic blueprints, confirming that what was held back is now being released. What was delayed is now descending. And what was once locked is now yours. The silence you keep in this moment is not passivity, it is power. The less you speak in the natural, the more authority you carry in the supernatural. Because heaven responds to obedience, not volume. And in this exact window, your stillness is making more noise in the spirit than 1,000 shouts ever could. Do not fear what you cannot see. Do not doubt what you cannot explain. Heaven's transaction room is open, and your name is the headline. The silent exchange is not quiet because it's empty. It's quiet because it's sacred. Type "I receive the exchange" in the comments if your spirit is present in this silent moment. Blessing code 6161 is now confirming your name in the divine transfer system. Justice is not delayed, it is calculated. It arrives on time, and when it does, It never comes alone. It comes with reversal. It comes with recompense. It comes with prophetic exposure. And I declare to you now, as the scrolls of heaven are opened and your name is lifted before the throne, spiritual justice has been triggered, and divine reversal has already begun moving on your behalf. The things they did in secret, the words spoken to slander you, the traps set behind smiles, the sabotage framed as support, heaven recorded it all. They thought they were interfering with your momentum. They believed they could talk you out of your destiny, delay your assignment, distract your discernment. But what they didn't know was that while they spoke, God was listening. While they plotted, God was preparing. And while they attempted to block you, heaven was building something greater, something reserved. This season was never about your enemies. It was about the proving of your name. And your name, though mishandled by people, was never misspelled by heaven. Your record is clear. Your scroll is intact. Your inheritance is untouched. Because spiritual justice doesn't simply restore what was lost. It reverses what was meant for harm. Every wrong word spoken against you is now working to build your testimony. The tables have turned. And the turn is not symbolic. It's structural. The very places where you were rejected are now being forced to recognize you. The doors that were shut are now creaking open. The voices that once mocked your weight will soon witness your acceleration. The delay you thought would break you has now become the evidence of divine restraint, a protection so precise, it made sure nothing you were promised was ever placed in the wrong hands. And the reversal will not be subtle. It will not be hidden. The same way your pain was public, so too shall your promotion be visible. God is not just redeeming time. He's rewriting timelines. He's realigning events. He's resetting opportunities that look permanently lost. He's even recalling decisions made without you that were never meant to stand. There is a reversal in motion, and it is touching every area of your life: financial, relational, emotional, spiritual. Where there was lack, there will now be surplus. Where there was confusion, there will now be clarity. Where there was betrayal, there will now be elevation. Not because of who you are alone, but because you did not allow the fire to change your name. You could have retaliated, but you stayed silent. You could have fought for yourself, but you let God defend you. You could have cursed the delay, but you chose to bless the process. And now, spiritual justice has found you, and it brings with it a divine decree. This one is the rightful heir. This one is the chosen vessel. This one passed the test. Watch how the tide turns. Watch how the reports shift. Watch how heaven vindicates those who chose purity over pride. You are not being restored to where you were. You are being launched to where you should have been if no delay ever touched your life. This is recompense with interest. This is justice with favor. Type "My justice has arrived" in the comments if you know divine reversal is resting on your life. Blessing code 7171 is now restoring what was stolen and rewriting what was broken. Heaven now speaks with finality. The scroll has been sealed. The record has been updated. And your name, the very name that endured accusation, delay, rejection, and hidden warfare, has now been sealed in light. Amorkatarian. Confusion. What was once in limbo has now been divinely confirmed. You are not forgotten. You are not second in line. You are not being bypassed. You are seen. You are known. You are chosen. The inheritance is not theoretical. It is tangible. And the moment you are in right now is the manifestation of what was prepared before the foundations of the world. It was always meant to come to you. It was always yours. The enemy tried to interfere, but he did not win, because heaven's justice does not miss its appointed vessel. And you were the appointed one. Walk in peace now. Let rest settle on your soul. The striving is over. The waiting has served its purpose. The time has fully come. You do not need to beg for what already bears your name. You do not need to chase what is chasing you. The mysterious investor was never human. It was God in disguise, testing your readiness, watching your posture, measuring your stewardship. And now he says, transfer complete. The wealth you are about to witness is more than financial. It is the wealth of wisdom, of influence, of clarity, of open doors that no man can shut. The oil has found your head. The fire has marked your name. The scroll has been handed to the angels who now walk with you in silence. And nothing, absolutely nothing, can wear out what heaven has now released. So stand tall. Speak less. Move in wisdom. And let your life become the proof that divine inheritance is real and that it always locates the faithful. Blessing. May every locked vault now open at the sound of your name. May divine favor chase you into overflow. May the oil of God mark your footsteps, and may no delay ever touch your destiny again. You are sealed. You are seen. You are sent. Now rise, the transaction is done. The scroll has been delivered. The wealth is in motion. Type "I am sealed" in light in the comments if you receive this final word. Blessing code 8181 is now releasing your final portion into motion. If this prophetic message stirred something deep within you, then this final invitation is your moment to become a co-laborer in the harvest. Every time you support this mission, whether through a YouTube membership, a super thanks, or a direct seed through PayPal in the description, you're not giving to a voice, you're giving into a kingdom assignment. When you sow into this kind of word, you're not funding content, you're fueling spiritual inheritance. You're joining the mysterious investor, multiplying the word so others can receive their scroll on time. Just as God declared in Isaiah 55:11, "My word will not return void." Your support ensures it reaches who it was meant to reach. I urge you now, give with intention. Sow as one who has just been sealed. Move prophetically. Let your offering become the sound that echoes this word into nations. Now is your moment. Give boldly. Sow urgently. Move with heaven.